When you think about the nervous system and stress, you probably think fight, flight, and freeze. These are functions that are related to the autonomic nervous system in response to it constantly and unconsciously scanning your inner and outer environment for danger, threat, or safety. This scanning your environment is called neuroception, and it's how your autonomic nervous system takes in information about your experience without involving the thinking parts of your brain. If you get the sense that you're in danger, then your nervous system will mobilize you to fight or flee. Think of the classic example of running away from a bear that's chasing you. If you detect your life is threatened, then your nervous system will immobilize you to freeze. Think of a possum playing dead when it sees a predator. But what if the answer to your autonomic nervous system's question, am I safe, is, I am safe? Well, this is where it gets interesting. We used to think that there were only two major functions of the autonomic nervous system, to mobilize or immobilize. The mobilize response is for fight-flight in the face of danger, but it's also there to help you energize yourself for a busy day or for sport or play. The immobilize response is for freezing or conserving energy in the face of a threat, but it's also there to help you rest and digest after a time of being mobilized. But the research of a behavioral neuroscientist named Dr. Stephen Porges revealed that the autonomic nervous system has a third major function, one that is more nuanced and accounts for humans being social creatures who are capable of more than just responding to or coming down from danger or threat. This third function, influenced by the vagus nerve, is for social engagement. Porges called this new understanding of our autonomic nervous system and the role the vagus nerve plays in emotional regulation, social connection, and our fear response, polyvagal theory. Polyvagal theory is named after the vagus nerve, which is the longest cranial nerve in your body. Vagus is Latin for wandering. The word vagabond comes from the same Latin root. The vagus nerve is referred to as wandering because it's a giant nerve that wanders from the base of your skull all throughout your face, neck, chest, and gut. The vagus nerve plays a part in two of the three autonomic states, immobilization and social engagement. Without getting too far into the weeds with this complex theory, what I want you to remember is this. The autonomic nervous system has three, not two major functions, and those are mobilization, immobilization, and social engagement. And in this state of social engagement, you and all humans are capable of being curious, creative, communicative, and truly connected. As you might imagine, social engagement is the state in which we experience the least amount of stress and anxiety, even when life is hard, which is why it's important to know how to rewire your nervous system so you can more reliably get to and spend more time in that state of social engagement.
Everyone has a bad day at work from time to time, but burnout is different. The World Health Organization defines burnout as a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed, and it has three primary symptoms. 1. Mental and emotional depletion or exhaustion. 2. Detachment and negative feelings towards your job. And 3. Reduced productivity. Burnout goes beyond just being stressed. You feel more than just fatigue or overwhelm. You feel empty, listless, and devoid of motivation, as if you have nothing else to give. Physically, burnout can manifest as feeling tired all the time, headaches, difficulty sleeping, muscle tension, changes in appetite, or getting sick more often. Mental and emotional signs of burnout include a negative attitude about your work or career, a loss of motivation and optimism, a decreased sense of accomplishment or satisfaction, being short-tempered with others, and trouble concentrating. All of this can affect your actions and performance at work, including withdrawing from responsibilities, isolating from colleagues, procrastinating and avoiding work, having a lack of empathy for others, making more mistakes, and having difficulty sticking to a self-care routine. If left unchecked, research shows burnout can lead to heart disease, autoimmune disorders, and gastrointestinal conditions. Now, you might be thinking, What's the difference between burnout and depression? It's a great question because there is a lot of overlap. Burnout is very specific to work. Depression is more pervasive and generalized, meaning your negative thoughts and feelings aren't only about work, but about all areas of life. While burnout can cause you to lose confidence in some of your professional abilities, depression can cause you to feel as if you're failing at life overall. If you think you're suffering from depression, consult with a licensed professional to get the right help for you. It's so important to spot the signs of burnout early, because the sooner you spot them, the sooner you can take action to proactively manage your stress. So ask yourself, are you exhausted all the time? Have you become cynical or disillusioned at work? Do you find it hard to motivate yourself or be productive? Does every day feel like a bad day? Open the exercise files and take the self-assessment provided. This will give you insight into where you're at this moment and where you can start making changes for the better.
Hey there, let's talk about self-care. Now, Parks and Rec, of course, is pretty great, but self-care is more than just treating yourself. Self-care is not a reward, though sometimes that can be part of it. It's a vital piece of the ongoing process of being a human. To quote the self-help classic Codependent No More, self-care is an attitude that says, I am responsible for myself. In other words, I am my responsibility, and I will honor that responsibility as I would anything else that was precious to me. So let's make an action plan for using self-care to make our lives more awesome. Step 1. Recognize that it is indeed okay to take care of yourself. Nay, it is not just okay, it is smart. As Lifehacker puts it, self-care helps prevent burnout, reduces the negative psychological and physical effects of stress, and helps you refocus on what's true and important. Like, there's an entire peer-reviewed international journal on burnout. This is like a real big difficult problem to solve. Now, this may seem counterintuitive, but it actually makes you more productive, not less, to set time aside for yourself. And regardless of your productivity levels, recognize that you are a human being, and that is enough to warrant compassion and kindness. For real. Step 2. Ideally, before the need strikes, research, outwardly and inwardly, what self-care means and what works for you. There are self-care actions that can help pretty much everyone: getting proper nutrition, some exercise, enough sleep, hydrating, and taking small breaks throughout the workday. I like to go for walks, and I like to be forced to do it by my friends or family or baby. We'll link to a list of almost 50 self-care actions down in the doobly-doo. But everyone is unique, so it's important to ask what actions make me feel better. Journaling, texting something nice to a friend, like watching videos of pug puppies, doing a bunch of push-ups, pillow fights, putting some projects on the back burner maybe. I personally am all in for the baby cuddles. I have a baby now, and I feel like I'm doing a thing that I was designed for, and that I need to be doing, and that I also just really like. Sometimes he's angry, though, and he yells at me, but most of the time I get cuddles. Now, one possible self-care action from us to you: start a digital warm and fuzzy file and fill it with compliments or kind words you've received, good memories, and favorite photos. Like, I have to admit, I get lots of people saying nice things about me on the internet, and that helps get me through the day. Being able to look through this file when you're feeling down might go a long way to bringing you back up. You want this list to be both ample and flexible, and you may even want to break it into different categories. For instance, T. Michael Martin, the fellow who wrote this script, by the way, has a spreadsheet of self-care actions organized by types of negative experiences. After all, the self-care you need while you're depressed may not be the same self-care that helps when you're overwhelmed with work. Also, if other people are involved in these self-care actions, it's totally cool to let them know now that they are part of your action plan. They may not always be available, but odds are if they're a good friend, they're going to do their best to do their part. Step 3, self-care powers activate. It's best if you can recognize the warning signs that you could use some self-care before things go into the red zone. For me, by the way, it's when I notice my fingers going to websites that I didn't intend on going to. Like just typing in reddit.com when I have a ton of work to do is a sign that I should go for maybe a little walk to recharge the batteries. If you're keeping a journal, you might notice a pattern or two in your behavior. Perhaps you'll notice a bleaker mood than normal or disturbed sleep. Either way, once the need becomes apparent, consult your list and follow through. And that is all that we have for you today. But if you have any self-care tips, please let us and other people who are looking know down in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. In the meantime, take care of yourself, your friends, and your neighbors. It's the adult thing to do.
So sad.